Shalom Aleichem, sweetest friends. This is amazing. We are going to be learning B'siyata Dishmaya, a sugya of Kimlei B'derabminei B'Tashlumei Terumah, based on the Heilige Sefer Shari Chaim. We're going to Chaim Shmuel Levitz, and this year should be a special schus for Avi Moiri. It's okay Ben Chana. He should have refuah shleim b'sach shar cholei Yisrael. And Aflam Ram and Beizim Neseches Ksubas and Tofes Dibur Maschil Zar. Tosfos explains there why there's no Kimlei B'derabminei if somebody eats Trumas Chometz. Apparently, there should be Kimlei B'derabminei. He gets the bigger punishment of the Chiyuv Mis of the Kares. So why is there no Kimlei B'derabminei? Why does he have to pay the Karen and the Chomesh? So the Tosfos answers, Ve'ishlomer d'shayni Terumah shogeg de Terumah mishum de Tashlumei didei kapara v'lo mimona. That shogeg of Terumah is different because that payment is kapara and it's not mammon. So if we're talking about mammonis, so by mammonis we say kimlei b'derabminei. By mammonis we say kimlei b'derabminei. But if we're talking about kapara, since paying up the payment that a person is obligated, the karen the chomesh that he's obligated for is kapara, there we don't say kimlei b'derabminei. So kimlei b'derabminei doesn't pater from kapara, it paters from mammon. Frekta beis yankiv. Later on in the very same Tosfos, they were machriach that kapara is tali b'hafrasha v'lo b'nesina. That you get kapara when you do hafrasha and not the giving of just being mafresh the truma and not actually giving it. And they explained that that's why we learn the Gabi Safek Kohen. You're not sure if he's a Kohen. If he ate truma, he doesn't pay karen v'chomesh because kapara ein l'chayvo misafek ela de mishum kapara ein l'chayvo misafek ela b'hafrasha. So all you have to do is he just has to be mafresh, but it doesn't actually have to give it to the Kohen because the kapara has totally in the hafrasha and not in the nesina. So if that's the case, what were they matarates that because it's suffix, because it's kapara? It's not shaykh kimlei b'derabminei, and therefore he has to make the payment. I don't understand. Midin kapara, he only needs to do hafrasha, doesn't need to do nesina. So if so, hadra kushel duchte. Why does a person who eats trumas chametz on Pesach b'shoigeg? Why does he pay karen v'chomesh? Why don't we pater him from nesina? Mishum kimlei b'derabminei. What a Tosfos answer. It's kapara. It's not mammon. Beseder. But what's kapara? What's kapara is the hafrasha makes the kapara, not the nesina. So why do we obligate him in a nesina? It's a kasha. Good kasha. Great kasha. Bam kasha. So in the next siman in the Shari Chaim, Rav Chaim explains at length that there's a machlokas Tosfos and Rambam be'ikar din nesina lekoin when a person is paying the coin Tashlumei Terumah. Tosfos holds that the whole chiyuv nesina is only mitzad din mammonis that the Kohen had in the truma that was eaten. And therefore they wrote that if a person eats truma that doesn't belong to a Kohen yet, he's pater b'nesina. Because this truma wasn't mammonis of the Kohen. It's only midin mammonis you have to pay, but if it didn't belong to the Kohen yet, it's trumas atzmo. That it wasn't the mammonis of the Kohen. In such an instance, the halacha is that you don't have to give it. You don't have to pay. He's pater min nesina because there's no mammonis to talk about here. The Rambam holds that the etzem shem truma v'kedushas hamatanos that's chal on the peiros, that's what's machayiv b'nesina lekohen. That the kedushas truma mitzad atzma is the siba l'din matnas kahuna. The fact that the truma is kadosh, that is a siba that it should be matnas kahuna. The kedusha is machayiv the nesina lekohen, and therefore he holds that even if a person is oichel trumas atzma, there's a din nesina on the tashlumin because of the shem truma that's chal on the tashlumin. And Amir Tashem, I hope that we'll get to that and we'll explain it at greater length. So according to this, it's pashut that the kasha of the Beis Yaakov isn't shver at all according to the Rambam, because according to the Rambam, the din of giving the Kohen, of paying the Kohen, is since it became Kodesh, al yidei Tashlumin, chayo bodin nisina. Like regular Terumah. So we can't pater him from Nisina out Kim Lev Derabimine. Because since Mishum Kapara, he has to be mafresh. And now Shem Terumah Chal on the Peiros. So now they have Torah's Matnas Kahuna because of the Kedushas Terumah. The Kedushas Terumah is Mechayiv to pay. So that's the Kasha of the Beis Yaakov. The Kedushas Terumah is Mechayiv to pay. And the Kasha therefore is... And according to that, the Beis Yaakov's question isn't a question at all. Because now we have to understand why he has to pay. Because the very fact that it's Kedushas Terumah, that's Mechayiv Nesina. As Rav Chaim says in a shir in 1961, he writes, "V'idei Afrasha, the Kedushas Terumah nasu aperes l'mamen hashevet." By Afrasha and the Kedushas Terumah, the Peres become the mammon of the Shevet HaKahuna. And since he gave Kevin Shenasan L'Kohenes HaKodesh, Amar HaKosuv, it says Nasan L'Kohenes HaKodesh. You have to give the Kohen the Kodesh. In other words, you have to give the Kohen Prati, the Mammon HaShevet. You can't pater from the Sina. Al Kim Lev Derabimine. Because Kim Lev Derabimine is Mishum Risha Achas Tamachayv Oviv Tamachayv Mishum Shtei Rishiyos. But here, you're not Machayv him to give money of his own. You're Chayv him to give Mammon HaShevet. In other words, the moment it's Mammon HaShevet, he does have frasha, it becomes Mammon HaShevet, and then it becomes Mammon HaShevet. You merely have to give it to the Kohen. So then the Beis Yaakov's question is a good question. Beis Yaakov's question is not a question at all, according to that, because we asked, I have frasha is enough. The answer is no, frasha is not enough, because the moment you did have frasha, that's Machayiv you to do the Nesina. The kasha of the Beis Yaakov is only according to Tosas. That according to Tosas, the whole Iker Din Nesina is because the Kohen had mammonis in the Terumah that was eaten. And therefore, Ochel Terumas Atzmo, he's mafresh la'atzmo, ve'enon l'Kohen. So the question is, why shouldn't he be pater from Nesina? It's Kim Lev Derabimine. You're going to tell me Kapara? Kapara only is Mechayiv b'hafrasha. Kapara is not Chayiv mishum Nesina. Why do you have to do Nesina? You have to do Nesima, it's the Mammonis. There you should say Kim Lev Derabimine. You need a Kapara. For Kapara, fresh is enough. So that's our difficulty. What is Tosas? Now, Baruch Hashem, we solved it according to the Rambam. But what is Tosas going to say? How come it's not enough just to be mafresh? Why does he actually have to give it to the Kohen? Let him just be mafresh for the Kapara. So it appears as follows, that the Achronim already are Meir and Tosfos. How do they write B'Pshitus that the Kapara is totally about Frasha? It's a Machlokes Rebbe and Rebbe Elazar Reb Shimon and Yerushalmi and Trumas Perak Vav Halacha Aleph. Amos Miskachin at Tashlumei Asim Truma. When does Tashlumei, that the person pays the Kohen, when does it become Truma? When does it become holy and become Truma? Rebbe Sovar that Matnasu Mekadosh so Beinam Frashosa Mekadosh so. Rebbe holds the Matanas Mekadosh and that Frash is not. Rebbe Elazar Reb Shimon holds no, that Frashosa Mekadosh so. The Etzem have Frash is Mekadosh. So it emerges then that the Divrei HaTosfos that the Kapara is Tluya B'Hafrasha is the Lo Rebbe. He says that ain't Hafrasha Mekadeshes, but rather what is Mekadesh, the Hafrasha is not enough. You have to actually give it. Matnasu Mekadosh. So it's only according to Rebbe Elazar Reb Shimon, he holds Hafrasha Mekadosh. So for him that's enough. So look in the Minchas Chinuch and Mitzvah Reish Pei. The Rashash in our Sugya is Miyashev that only when there's Mammon Kohen, it's Miskadesh B'Nesina, that I have to have Nesina in order to be Mekadesh. Mashenken Kishen Mammon Kohen, the Din Nesina, there it's enough to do Hafrasha, like we find in Bechoros, Bepidyon Peter Chamor. The Rebbe Elazar, he's not Padui before the Seh reaches the hands of the Kohen. Ve'afal Pichen, B'Safek Peter Chamor, he's Mafresh Etleh, and it's enough, then he can keep it. And so too, B'Safek, or b'mochal, the coin's mochel. Or, if there's a suffix involved, whether he's chayiv, so what can he do? He can be mafresh the tashlumei, and it belongs to him. So only when, says the Rashash, there's Mammon Kohen, then you need to do Nisina. But if it's not Mammon Kohen with Nisina, then it's enough to do Hafrasha. Like we find in Bechoros by Pidyon Petr Chamor, that normally you have to do the Nisina. But if it is a suffix, if it's a suffix Petr Chamor, you can be mafresh and you can keep it. Because here there's no Mammon Kohen. There's no Din Nisina. And when Rebbe says that you have to do Nisina, that's only when there's Mammon Kohen involved. Ube'emes, this Rashash is Lahedja B'Yerushalmi. Amar of Bun Ben Rechia Tzetshu B'Vav B'Davar Shu Zakalit L'Kohen. B'Davar She'enu Zakalit L'Kohen, Af Rebbe Moide. That it's only if you have to give it to the Kohen. There Rebbe says they have to actually do Nisina. But if it's Eno Zakalit L'Kohen, even Rebbe's Moide, that Afresh is enough. So the Rashash said that's what the Yerushalmi said. Rashash came a few months later. And it's Medama, the Yerushalmi's Medama, the Pidyon Aben, that Rebbe Loz's Moide, that Inofabo, Petr Chamor, Mi Beis Avi Imoy, Kohen, Mikevan Shefrisho, Kitshoy. Doing the Hafrasha is enough if he has a Petr Chamor from Beis Avi Imo, from his grandfather, the Kohen. Just the fact that he did Hafrasha here, no Nesina is required. Just the fact that he did Hafrasha is enough. And Rebbe is Modeh that in such an instance where there's no Din Nesina, then Hafrasha is Mekadesh. So the Machlokas between Rebbe Elazar and Rebbe Shimon is only with their Machlokas of whether it's totally in Hafrasha or Nesina is about the Kapara. The Machlokas between, Rebbe and Rebbe Elazar and Rebbe Shimon is not if the kapara is totally about Hafrasha or Nesina, but rather everybody agrees that the kapara is totally b'chalois kedushas hatruma ala peris, and it makes sense because b'chalos hakedusha he's metaking the chet of chil hatruma shebachilasa, that he ate his b'chal hatruma. First he ate it shelo kehochasa, and now by taking chulam into kanim and being machnes them b'kedushas truma, so he's mamid like it was originally. So the machlokas is not, is the kapara totally about Hafrasha or Nesina. The kapara is definitely totally in the Hafrasha. The machlokas is only when is the kedusha chal. Rav Elazar Shimon holds that the Hafrasha is makadesh. Rebbe holds that in an instance that he's chayav also in Nesina, the kedusha is only chal b'shas hanesina, and therefore he says matnaso makadoshaso, and that's what it says, that moide Rebbe b'davar shein zakuk litno. Rebbe agrees that if you don't have to give it, then it's enough to do that Hafrasha, because the matana is mekadesh not because the etzem hakapara is totally b'nesina, but rather that the kedusha is not chal until the nesina. If you're chayav to nesina, then the kedusha is chal with the nesina. And in an instance that mitzad chiyuv tashlumin he wasn't mischayav b'nesina, so then the kedusha is going to be chal al yedei etzem hafrasha, just like for Rebbe Elazar Reb Shimon. V'dai bazeh lekapara, since he was mamid the truma like it was, he turned it back into truma, so that's sufficient. So only when you're actually chayiv to give it to the Kohen, then the matan is makadesh. But if you don't have to give it to the Kohen, then l'kuli alma, the hafrasha is enough, and hafrasha, because the hafrasha brings the kapara, because you're mamid truma like it was before. So now we could say that Tosfos is even according to Rebbe, that in an instance if you have a suffix Kohen, for example, you have a kahenis, shenis arev vlada bevlad shivchasa b'sofik ben tishla rishon ben shvi or ben shiva la'achara. This woman was married to a Kohen, and her vlad was misarev with the vlad of a shivcha, or she had two husbands, and you don't know if it belonged to the Kohen, the first one, or the non-Kohen, the second one. So Mishum HaSafek, you're not Chayiv B'Nesina. Why? Because the Motz Mechaber El Varaya. And we can say there, L'Kulei Alma, the Hafrash is enough to be Mekadesh this and make it Truma and bring Kapara. Because just like if somebody eats Trumas Atzmai, he's Mishalim Kapara L'Atzmai, because there's no Din Nesina. Called Din over Kaparaso is just to take Chulin and make it into Truma. So too in an instance that Mishum HaSafek, the person is Pater Minesina, the whole Din is only to be Oimed and to be Mafresh, V'suloi Midi, and not a no more. And therefore Tosis is correct that the Kapara is Tluya B'Hafrasha, and that's even L'Rebbe. So we asked, Tosis is only the one Shita. It's only the Rebbe of Reb Shimon. Not according to Rebbe and the Yerushalmi. The answer is no, it's even according to Rebbe. Everybody agrees that the Hafrash is Makadish. The only thing is, if there's a Din Nesina, then everyone agrees that Hafrash is Mechaper. But if there's a Din Nesina, then it's not going to be holy until you actually do the Nesina. But otherwise, if you're not Chayv Nesina, like if you have a Safek Kohen, then just doing the Hafrash is going to be enough, L'Kulei Alma. And so, said Hagoyin Reb Shimon Shkop in our Sugya, Siman Chavtes, and in Siman Lamed, Se'iv Kot and Gimel. Shimon was Chaim Shmulevitz's Rebbe. And based on this, we can be Miyashev, the Kasha of the Beis Yankiv. That Tosis writes at the beginning that Kim Levi Rabbanei doesn't pattern from Nesina. Because it's a kapara. And since it's a kapara, you have to do the Nesina. But wait a second. Frek the Beis Yaakov, at the end of Tosis they say that kapara is fluya not be Nesina, but behaf Rasha. So how can you say, oh no Kim Levi Rabbanei? Because you need kapara. So you have to give it to the Kohen. No! For the kapara fresh is enough. But based on what we said, we give you mechalek. That here we're talking about the din kim levi d'Rabbi minei. B'misi v'dei shemayim, we're talking about Terumah. So we can say, like that sad, that we explained in an earlier shir, oh, I hope you listened to that, it was so gishmak. That oynesh, she'eno maser lebezdin, kamay kares, o misa b'dei shamayim, eno b'chlal of dinan be'achumra. In other words, when do we say that if you get the bigger punishment, you don't receive the smaller punishment? That's when you actually got the bigger punishment, that they did the bigger punishment to you. What's doing the bigger punishment to you? So we spoke out there that that's only when it's bidei adam, when it's bidei bezdin. But when it's bidei kares or misa bidei shemayim, that's not considered of dina be'achumra, that we did the more severe, gave the more severe punishment. Since it's masr la shemayim, v'lo lebezdin. Of dinan be'achumra is when we actually carried out the more severe punishment. But now when Shemayim did it. And therefore we said that it doesn't matter whether it was Shogeg or Mazid. He is a din of Chayve Mises Shogegim, that where no punishment is carried out. And in such an instance, the Kimlei b'derab minei doesn't pater me ikar achiyuv. All Kimlei b'derab minei says in Chayve Mises Shogegim is that Bezdin doesn't carry out. It's a din on the Bezdin, as we were explained beautifully at length. It's a din on the Bezdin that they cannot punish. Two punishments. But since it's only a din on the Bezdin, they can't punish two punishments. We're talking about Chayve Mises Shogegim. Somebody did an Avera to be Chayve Mises Bezdin for, but he only did it b'Shogegim. It's not Chayve Mises Bezdin. And we said that that's in the same category as we prove very strongly. As the case of where it's Chiyuv Misa B'dei Shemayim or Kares, there also it's not considered that we carried out the stronger punishment, and therefore it has the same status, because carrying out the stronger punishment is only when the Beis Din actually does it. But if it's Chayv Misa Shogegin, and if it's where the stronger punishment is not carried out, and where it's B'dei Shemayim or Kares, where the stronger punishment is not actually carried out, so there the din is that in principle there's no Kimlei D'Rabbi. The Kimlei D'Rabbi just means that the Beis doesn't have the power. If it's Chayv Mitzvah, the Beis doesn't have the power. If it's Karas Mitzvah Shemaim, the Beis doesn't have the power. But Tfisa still is effective. Like we saw from the Marashal and the Amshel Shlomo, and it emerges then that the din of Kimlei D'Rabbi Shebachilaso is not effective to pater him me'etzem chalois achiyuv l'seis Terumah Tashlumei l'kohen. He's still in principle, even though he's Chayv Mitzvah Shemayim, he's still in principle Chayav to give this Tashlumei to the Kohen. If there was no Tashlumei at all, that's a different story. There, the hafresh is enough. But here, this Kimlei B'D'Rabbi is not enough to pater him from the Chalos Chiyuv to give the Tashlumei to the Kohen. He still has to give it to the Kohen, just the Beis Din doesn't carry it out. The Beis Din doesn't force him to pay it. Because of Kimlei B'D'Rabbi. But that doesn't mean that Be'etzem he's not Chayiv. Be'etzem he is Chayiv. Like we said, Chayiv Mises. Beis Din B'Shogeg, Chayiv Mises Shogim, and also if it's Misa B'Dei Shemayim. So Be'etzem he's Chayiv, we just don't make him pay. And Memela, but he really has to pay to the Kohen. And Memela, the machlokas between Rebbe and Rebbe Elazar Reb Shimon is relevant here. And according to Rebbe, since he has a chiyuv nesina, the kedushas truma is not chal until shas nesina, and therefore Tosas is correct that he is not going to be pater min nesina mitam kimlev d'ramine because it's kapara, because according to Rebbe, the matan is mekadesh, and if you don't give it, then the chulim isn't going to become truma, and he's not going to be miskaper. So the only eitz he has to be miskaper is alidei nesina truma l'kohen. So when Tosas says earlier that he has to actually give it to the Kohen, we said, I have fresh is enough. No! We proved the whole shir is that a fresh is not enough if he's chayiv in the actual nesina. And here we proved that he is chayiv in the actual nesina. Because yes, we say Kim L'Ramana that we don't make him pay, but that doesn't mean that he doesn't have to pay. We said Tfisa is mo'il. Tfisa is effective. He is Be'etzem chayiv. Just Beis Din doesn't force him. But since Be'etzem there's a chiyuv nesina, so the ketush is not going to be kachal, and there's going to be no kapara until he does the nesina. Again, for this, it's kedai to listen to the previous shir. At Zar Shachal Truma. Maybe you did. I hope you did. I know I heard it. Umashein Kain, you're a much better person than me. I just happen to hear most of the words that come out of my mouth, although sometimes I do say things and I'm not even listening. Umashein Kain b'sof divrayim, at the end of Tosfos, they're talking about an instance where he's a Safek Kohen. Oh, he's a Safek Kohen. So Machmas HaSafek, he's Pater L'Gamrei Min Hasina. And it's different than the din of Kimlei D'Rabbi. There, Machmas HaSafek, he doesn't have to do Nesina. There, all he has to do is Hafrasha. And here Rebbe is Modeh. If he doesn't have to give it, then Hafresh is enough. And if it's a Safek Kohen, he doesn't have to give it. So it's Gur Gavaldik. Why at the beginning Tosfos says that he has to actually give it? Because we're talking about where there's actually a Chiv Nesina. Because according to Rebbe, and often when he has to give it to the Kohen, Hafresh is not enough. And there we're talking about an often where he has to give it to the Kohen. Because in principle he's chayav to give it the Kohen. Let's come to Rabbinay, we don't make him, but that doesn't pattern from the etzem chiyuv. So since be'etzem he's chayav, being mafresh isn't going to be enough. But at the end we're talking about a Safek Kohen. There's no chiv nesina. All there is the chiv hafresha. There the kuli alma fresh is enough. Because by Safek Kohen, where you don't have to do nesina, everybody agrees that in order to be holy, you don't have to do nesina. Fresh is enough. So I hope it was clear. As mamish kishmak avaldik. And there's a lot more to say, obviously. When is there not a lot more to say? And I hope that we get to say it. B'simcha u'tuv lev of Meirov Kol. It's Hashem. And thank you for learning this really unbelievably geshmak sugya with me. Tashlumei Terumah. How many people in the world are learning the sugya of Tashlumei Terumah now? Shalom, shalom, sweetest and most beloved friends.